You're watching Straight Black Love Talk with your host, DcRadical1, the home of intelligent, mature relationship conversations.
Next, were black men the cause of Kamala Harris losing the election? The short answer is no. I could go from there, but let's look at it. It says over 70% of black men who voted for Harris. Less than 25% of black men who voted for Trump. I mean, it speaks for itself. Now, I believe, 87% of black women voted for Harris. So there is a difference, right? You know, you're talking about 10, 15 point difference, but still, that's overwhelming. It's not like it was a 50-50 thing. Next, Trump increased his numbers amongst young men, Hispanics, white men, and white women. And that's why he won. He gained, I think he got about 45% of the Hispanic vote, which was a marked increase even from his 2016 victory against Hillary Clinton. So I just find it interesting that nobody has anything to say about Hispanics voting for Trump. And let's be honest, a majority of European males, or white men, if you will, they voted for Trump. I don't see anybody here's the contradiction that I see. I don't see black women blaming white men for voting for Trump. I mean, you see what I'm saying here? As Dr. Umar would say, don't you find that suspicious? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, these numbers here, that's why the election was lost. Sister Najee says Black Twitter did say they aren't celebrating Cinco de Mayo next year. All right, well, let's mark that on our calendar and see. Next, Harris lost Michigan because she lost Muslim votes to Jill Stein and lost some black votes to Stein and Trump. Her unwillingness to confront Israel cost her there.
Major aspect of this election is the number of Arab American and Muslim voters who backed Trump and third-party candidate Jill Stein.
The president-elect won both Dearborn and Dearborn Heights and made ground in Hamtramck after months of anger over how the White House handled the war in Gaza. And Fox News' Charlie Langton joins us live with a closer look at this. And a lot of people, at least in Michigan, this was a big determining factor.
It was a big determining factor. In fact, if you go back to 2020, Taryn, Joe Biden carried Dearborn 3-1. A lot of Muslim Americans here, and they vote Democrat, or at least they did, but not this time around. President Trump made a personal appearance here at the Great Commoner, this boutique cafe here. That was just last Friday. And then posters like this all are put on a lot of the polls around here. Don't vote for genocide, but vote for Jill Stein. So apparently some of the Muslims here, they didn't want to vote for Trump or Harris, but Jill Stein. I happen to catch up with some people that voted for Jill Stein. We're figuring out why Jill Stein. Take a look. You voted for Jill Stein?
Yes, I did.
I voted for Jill Stein. I know, a lot of us did.
That's a wasted vote, isn't it?
Why is that a wasted vote?
It's not going to win.
Counts. No, if you get enough votes out there that says that they want change, maybe some change will be implemented.
There was actually a strategy behind it. We wanted her to get at least 5% of the vote in an effort to finally break this duopoly that we have in the United States.
Did Kamala Harris drop the ball?
100%. 100%.
With the Muslim community?
With everybody that has a humane bone in their body.
We just could not get behind Kamala Harris, given that her administration, the administration that she's a part of, or that she was a part of now, was directly contributing to the genocide of our people overseas and the decimation of our home country.
Listen, again, this was simple analysis. They've known for months at this point. Muslim voters have been protesting. They've been saying, hey, you're going to listen to us. Hey, you need to help stop the genocide. Hey, stop sending weapons to Israel. Yada, yada. Ad nauseum. The election comes, and, while she's campaigning, not only does she not say anything, because of course she can't say anything because she's married to Israel, right? So, I mean, it's kind of obvious what her position is. Let's just be realistic. Her husband had a meeting, and he scheduled and held a meeting in the White House on anti-Semitism in America.
And turning now to the fight against hate here in America with a new movement that's coming from the White House. Today, Second Gentleman Emhoff is expected to host a roundtable discussion in an effort to combat the rise of anti-Semitism across the country. NBC News White House correspondent Carol Lee joins us now with more on today's event. Carol, good to have you with us. So, this roundtable obviously comes at a time when we've seen a lot of headlines about anti-Semitic comments and sentiment. What happened with Kanye West, who was also at a dinner hosted by former President Trump with a noted white nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. So what can you tell us about today's meeting and how these recent controversies are going to play into what's discussed? How will they be addressed?
Well, the First Gentleman is going to convene 13 Jewish groups, as well as a couple of administration officials, including domestic policy advisor Susan Rice, the director of public engagement, Keisha Lance Bottoms, who's the former mayor of Atlanta. And they're going to have a discussion about what you just noted, this rise in anti-Semitic rhetoric, anti-Semitic violence. And the goal really is to put an emphasis on this, to showcase that this is something that is increasing, that it's a bit of a crisis in the eyes of the White House and this administration. And this has been something, Savannah, that's been in the works for weeks. However, to your point, what you hear from White House officials is that it takes on this new significance in light of that dinner that former President Trump had with the white nationalist and Kanye West. And so that's expected to also be front and center. Now, President Biden is not expected to attend, but this is taking place in the White House. He lives there, and so there's always a chance that he could drop by as well.
He has no official position in the White House, so we know where he stands. This is in the midst of a genocide in Palestine. So, she had picked her side before. So whatever they was going to do, they was going to have to do. And I guess they figured out that they was going to have to do because they did it. And man, well, here we are, right? So, and then the worst part is, and I don't know whose idea it was, but they sent Bill Clinton up there, and Bill Clinton was up there looking crazy and sounding like Joe Biden. And he basically told these people, he's sitting up there in Michigan in front of a bunch of Muslims and was kind of like, yeah, a lot of people have died, but it's not as bad as it could be, type of thing. And I was just sitting there with my mouth open like, hey, somebody get the mic away from that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, I'm like, you're not, what they used to say, you're not helping. And, Bill Clinton was not helping. I don't know if y'all seen that clip, but it was bad. I was like, oh, well, you scratched Michigan off the list. So that's why that night when they were counting the votes, I was like, man, why y'all taking so long with Michigan? We know what it is here.
Let me talk about the hardest issue here in Michigan is the Middle East. And I have to be careful what I say because there's only one president at a time, and none of us can get ahead of where we're going. But I think we're going to have to essentially start again on the peace process. And I understand why young Palestinian and Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died. I get that. But if you lived in one of those kibbutzim and in Israel, right next to Gaza, where the people there were the most pro-friendship with Palestine, most pro-two-state solution of any of the Israeli communities, were the ones right next to Gaza. And Hamas butchered them. And so then the people who criticize it are essentially saying, yeah, but look how many people you've killed in Ritalin. So how many is enough for you to kill to punish them for the terrible things they did? That all sounds nice until you realize, what would you do if it was your family and you hadn't done anything but support a homeland for the Palestinians, and one day they come for you and slaughter the people in your village? You would say, well, you'll have to forgive me, I'm not keeping score that way. It isn't how many we've had to kill, because Hamas makes sure that they're shielded by civilians. They'll force you to kill civilians if you want to defend yourself.
Next, Harris' last-ditch effort to court black men came off as insincere pandering to many black men, including myself. You know, one of the things was, and I don't think I didn't even, because it can happen so quick, I didn't even do a video on it, but she said, like, after I had been posting and saying, hey man, what's her program? What's her position? And does anybody seen her stuff? And she didn't have anything on her website, any policy on her website. Then she put some policy on her website, and then next thing you know, she talked about some stuff she was going to do for black men. And then, like, literally, like 2 days later, you realize that it wasn't exclusively for black men. That it was marketed as exclusively for black men, but it was not exclusively for black men. That was so young people say that was cap. So, I mean, she had said she wasn't going to do anything exclusively for black people in general. So why would she do something exclusively for black men? She said what she said. She kept her word. So, you know, I mean, you gotta give her credit. She kept her word. And Obama and other celebrity men were rejected by serious men. Yeah, I mean, because they were just anyway, we covered that, man. Obama sitting up here and trying to browbeat black men and talking about misogyny and all this whole nonsense. All right, man, please just stop it. Stop the cap. In many black families, grandma is the ruler. Okay? So the whole idea that black men wouldn't vote for somebody to be the ruler when in many of their families, grandma's the ruler. Everybody loves grandma. It's just pure nonsense. It's pure nonsense. And it just goes to show how out of touch these people are, and how they don't even understand Black American culture.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cashapp is $DcRadical1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA and straight black pride.